Hello, thank you guys so much for coming to this video today. I really appreciate it. This is the Cardano Aura podcast. We bring anyone on the podcast is bringing value to the Cardano blockchain. AF from Deadpxl actually built the first ever interactive NFTs on the Cardano blockchain, and that is one of my favorite NFT projects on Cardano. We go into the white paper, we go into essentially the roadmap, we go into the game, we go into the royalties that are coming back to the initial purchasers. We also go into the initial drop and what was so unique about it and what got me interested in it. And really the good times that we had with Deadpxl that I won't forget, and there's a lot of good times coming. If you guys do enjoy this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you click the like button, subscribed, notification bell, and commented down below. What do you think? Did you enjoy it? Also, at the very end of this, I'm going to start moving some of my ads to the end so you guys have a better experience. There is a 2-minute Mycelial Gallery ad. It's about our new burn that's coming up. It's a free NFT drop for our users, so if you stay for 2 minutes at the end, you'll get to see that. But we're not going to put it at the beginning because I want you guys to enjoy this. But hope you enjoy. Hello, thank you guys so much for coming to this podcast today. I really appreciate it. This is the Cardano Aura podcast. We bring anyone that is bringing value to the Cardano blockchain on this podcast. And today we have AF, also known as Adrian from Deadpxl. How are you doing today?
Hey man, all good, all good. It's been a heavy week for me, but looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, I would be too, man. I can't imagine. So Deadpxl is actually one of my favorite NFT drops on Cardano, and it's because it was unique. It was because it, looked at using gamification to make the drop more interesting, and also to allow people to participate in the drop in a different way. Just right off the bat, one thing that was unique about his drop is you could actually see the NFT that you were getting before you got the drop. And my first time seeing it, the site, everything, it all came together, and it was just this beautiful experience. And it's one that I will remember as being, one of the, unique drops in the beginning, the early days of Cardano. So, my first question for you is, who are you and kind of what led you to create this project,
Okay. Okay. So first of all, thank you for participating in the drops, by the way. I was so happy to see you there. I think the community was also happy to have you on board, and for you to be jumping ship. But I sort of think it was a big motivator for many people to also jump on board. But anyway, this aside, I am Adrian, also known as AF, as you mentioned earlier. I am from Romania, currently residing in Bucharest. And I have created a project named Deadpxlz, which is the first interactive NFT collection on the Cardano blockchain. It was minted, completely minted. So as people like to say, pre-minted. It wasn't mint on demand, so like usual drops. But anyways, we're going to get into that later on. It was minted in early May 2021, right about after the Space Buds insanity began, so that was super cool to sort of be early in the game. A bit frustrating because Alessandro actually got earlier there than me, but there's plenty of space for everybody, and there's
he was actually, you thanked me for introducing people into the space. Well, I have to thank Alessandro. It was his tweet, actually. I think it was the second drop that you guys did that did introduce me to Deadpxl. So thank you to him as well.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So yeah, in a nutshell, I created this project mostly on my own. I didn't have any help with the art or minting or any social media management or community management and so on. And it kind of came up like pretty nicely, and it grew very organically because of the community, because I haven't like paid anyone to market it or to promote it. I did do a few giveaways in the beginning, first a couple hundred Twitter followers to get the ball rolling, but other than that, I guess it was all organic growth. And the community was always there to either answer my questions or provide feedback on features and so on. What I like to do is basically when I develop stuff, we have a 4K plus Discord server right now. So there's 4,000 people who can actually provide valuable feedback, and I'm basically building the product for them. And what I like to do when developing is we have this little channel there called Dev Updates, and I sort of ship periodic updates to about how the project or how the things that I'm working on are currently going, and then I ask for feedback and so on. So I guess I gotta hand a lot of contribution in terms of, I don't know, at least feature wise or user experience to the community itself, because they have had like very good ideas, and part of those ideas actually got implemented. So thank you for
I
that,
think
guys.
really what adds to that and also adds to the organic growth is that you didn't just drop all 10,000 of the NFTs at one time. You had essentially these seasons that came through, and it was starting with season 0, correct?
Correct. That is correct. So season 0, it was so funny. Honestly, it was like and sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good.
To talk a lot. I'm super excited talking about this.
It's good for podcasting.
Because it's actually, it's a bit nostalgic right now, because season 0 dropped in like around mid-June this year. And there were like 333 pixels. And the drop wasn't that smooth to begin with. It wasn't Nami wallet enabled, and we're going to get into that part as well later on. And basically what happened is that people just had to send transactions to an address that I made public once the drop went live. And that was it. And I sort of found a bug in my distribution system during the drop, where if people would send like, I don't know, more than like 20 transactions at a time or something like that, the system would sort of start hicking up and missing transactions. But anyway, it was fine in the end. Everybody got their refunds if they had to get a refund, and everybody got their token. It was pretty slow, that doing it that way, because people just submit a transaction and then wait for the chain to update for like 20 seconds or something like that, which is it wasn't very user friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
but that's how the majority of drops are. Everybody has to wait the 20 seconds, and even drops lately, I've still been participating in ones where you're not only waiting 20 seconds, you have to wait for the blockchain to catch up to everyone's transactions. And now you have to wait for them to catch up to the minting transactions. And now they have to, well, I guess you can mint and send in the same transaction, but you kind of have to wait for the blockchain to catch up, nowadays. And, that unique feature that you implemented with is it season 1, right? Because we started at season 0. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like so super self-conscious about season 0. And I promised myself I would make an impeccable drop. Next drop will be flawless. It's going to be much faster, and it's going to be much more focused on user interaction, because season 0 was more like focused on the Discord activity rather than the website itself, because it just showed the tokens and it just added a sold stamp overlaid on each of the sold tokens. And then season 1, I built it more like, with a lot of, sort of a gamification aspect in mind, because it had like tons of features in it. It had actually more features than season 2, if you believe it, because I wanted to actually, sort of go all in and sort of make a statement with it. And basically what I did was right about when I was developing season 1, my original plan was actually to build a sort of a wallet interface myself, so that I could handle submitting transactions and then confirming them on server side, and then just telling the user, okay, your transaction is confirmed, you're getting the next token in line, and that's it. And fate made it so that I didn't have to do that, because Nami wallet came out just precisely in the nick of time, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. And then I was sort of facing the community, who were not completely introduced to Nami. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know how it worked. They were not very, accustomed to sort of these browser extension wallets.
Yeah, and for me, that was my first time actually using Namey, and my first thought, when I had to download Namey and load it with Ada, is I was like, this drop sucks. You know, I have to download a whole nother wallet for it. I can't even, and then it's like when I actually started using the drop, I'm like, okay, I get it now, you know, and that was
Yeah.
a very high risk choice to take, you know, to say all other wallets are not supported. Only this new wallet from Alessandro is, you know, and it still worked out in your favor. And it really is what created this unique experience.
Yeah, I guess you know, I was super happy, and I thought I kind of took it as a sign. You know, I kind of took it as this can't happen. You know, it happened exactly when it needed to, and I didn't want to ignore it. You know, I said, okay, I'm not going to ignore this. This is where, you know, the powers that be want me to go with this, so we're going to go with this way. I tried to explore ways to, you know, enable users to actually drop from mobile. So what I did was actually create sort of a mobile login based on a token that you would generate on your PC, and then you could have like the drop on your phone, and you could buying like if you could buy these prepaid sort of tickets, which we called Insta drops in both seasons. Via Nami wallet from your PC, and then use them on your mobile if you are on the go, and so on and so forth. Because the drop itself didn't last like 2 minutes. It lasted like the season one lasted around, I think, less than 72 hours. It was like 70 hours or something. Because actually, you know, in the beginning, people kept dropping and dropping and dropping, and they caught on that you can actually strategize and time your drops in order to get the more rare tokens, and not have to, you know, necessarily get the next in line. Could just wait for somebody else to get it, and then you come in and get
it was such a unique experience. So for the audience watching, you know, you get on there. For me, you know, I created an Amy wallet. I, you know, integrated it up in the corner as you would with any other DApp experience, and the NFTs and the attributes actually show in the bottom in the middle, and we'll put that on screen right now so you can see what's happening. But you know, you would get these instances where at first everyone's coming in. This is right when Alessandro shared it. I was actually in there with a few other community members. Jack was one of them. I saw his username, Think and Grow Crypto. This was right at the launch of season one. And I just see all of the, like, my buddies essentially buying these from Alessandro sharing it. And right when we came in, none of us knew what we were doing. You know, we bought, like, I bought like 4 of them, of the random ones. You know, I didn't get the strategy yet. And I'm like, oh, these are cool. These are cool. And then like a quarter way through the drop, like, it finally clicked for me. I'm like, wait, I shouldn't just be buying all of these. I should be sitting there like kind of like waiting, ready, you know, like guns, you know, ready to draw, you know. And it was cool. And what would happen is we would have like 30 people all waiting, you know, for like, an alien's 10 NFTs away, but you can see it 10 NFTs away. So we're all waiting, like, who's going to be the first to shoot? You know, who's going to be the first to shoot? And then as soon as it happens, we all do it. And it's like, it goes, and I'll put this on screen right now. It goes, ba 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 ba. And if you're lucky, you know, you got the rare alien or the one that you were trying for, but it was pretty hard. And in the beginning, there was only a few of us there. So I actually was lucky to get one of the aliens. And it was the best feeling that it was the best NFT feeling. It went, because there were only 5 of us there, but it was still hard with 5 people. And it went like, doot, doot, doot. And right when it was on the alien, I had my finger, I went, and it just came up with my username. And I was like, I jumped with joy. Like, I really stood up, was like screaming, you know, so that shows how much I really did enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, you know, so season 1 was like smaller than season 2. I guess season 2 kind of went a bit more mainstream. But season 1 was like, you know, all the OGs from the community, also newcomers as well, but most of them OGs from like the server, and you know, a lot of followers and so on. I think when I launched season 1 was, I know I had like 1,000 followers on Twitter. Oh, less than 1,000, like 800. So the word hadn't gotten out that, you know, hadn't spread out that much about the drop itself, and it was much more, you know, cozier sort of a feeling, you know, to have like people that you know and admire from the community participate, which was very cool. And you know, there were like a lot of people who were telling me, so have told me that they actually spend like sleepless nights watching the, you know, the chain and sniping like exactly as you did. And I totally get the satisfaction, you know, of dropping something which is like really rare because you timed it correctly, and it sort of
And I didn't even
some sort
understand
of
it back
skill.
then either. You know, like it was just a cool looking one, and it was in the very beginning. I think it, you know, it was, I would say probably one of the first few aliens in season one, and I didn't even get how rare it was at the time. It was just different. I was like, yes, you know. And I didn't. You hadn't
Yeah, I
released the
think
white paper yet either. You know. Sorry for
yeah,
interrupting,
yeah.
but
Yeah, no problem. No, I think you could actually flip it for like a 20K ADA or 10K ADA right now. If you, I know it would go very fast if you'd put it up for like 10K ADA, easy. Somebody's gonna get it. But yeah, I mean, you know, back then it was pretty cool just watching people. You know, my only regret about season one was that I didn't actually get to drop any myself. I just wanted to get as many Deadpxls out there to the public, so I didn't keep any from season one myself, which I sort of regret. I did, however, started dropping in season two because I kind of got scared. You know, they were like going fast, and I was like, "What's gonna happen? Am I gonna remain with 0 tokens of my own creation? This
yeah.
is insane." So, so I actually did drop some pixels. I think I have around 130 pixels, which is, you know, it's pretty okay for a pixel wallet, but it
That's
just,
pretty
you
good
know, I just
now. You know, what's the floor at? 400? It's been a while since
it's
I've checked, but
I think it's you know, it's nearing 500 actually right
yeah,
now.
it's
So
pretty
it's
good
been
wallet. It's a good that's a
hovering.
good, that would be a large part of my portfolio, you know.
No, man, I mean, it's you know, that's it's not even the biggest wallet. I think the biggest wallet is around 400 pixels, and it's this dude who's like a very active member of the community on Discord. He's like a very sweet guy who actually got into season two, late season two. Season two, by the way, which like took I think 6 days to complete.
Hmm.
There were like season one was 3,333 tokens, and season two was the rest of the remaining tokens, which is like 6.2K tokens, 6,200 and something. So, you know, it's a huge amount of tokens. What I did with season two was actually split them up in three concurrently running chains. So you could drop from any of the three. So it's basically just like season one, but 3 times sort of the fun, because you could navigate through these three chains and you could drop from any of them if you wanted. And, you know, sort of
Oh, so you essentially
anticipating that.
have three different choices. So there's three different games going on at one time.
Exactly, exactly. And
Interesting.
people naturally, when season two kicked off, it was just right before, you know, it was right after Coco Loco launched, and the hype, the insane hype with the NFTs on Cardano, you know, began, you know, turning up to 11. And you know, you know, there still weren't many people, you know, into pixels. So I guess we sort of started out the drop. When the drop started, there were like, I think, I don't know, around one or two, no, 1.5 registered wallets on the drop website. So that's 1.5K registered wallets on the drop website. So 1,500 people were just, you know, waiting to start dropping once the timer hit 0. And once it did, when season two started, I think I sent you a clip about it, of it. It's just started popping off, and I think like 25 or like 30% of the entire season just sold out in like 10 minutes. And then, as you said earlier, people started realizing that they can actually choose when to, you know, perform a drop, because there, in the beginning there's that FOMO component where you say,
Hmm.
what's happening, it's gonna be sold out, I'm not gonna get anything, you know. And the speed that it went with, you know, in the beginning of season two, it was insane. And I was like, you know, sitting at my desk, you know, monitoring everything, making sure that, you know, everything goes smoothly. And I was just, you know, at some point I just raised my eyes from the monitor, which has like my console and my, you know, logs, you know, running through. And I just looked at the drop itself, and it was like, it was
It's so cool
unbelievable.
looking too when it
Yeah.
happens. You know, the way they come up and then they just love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. And you know, in order to,
So
because I
did you do the
anticipated.
animation on that too? I don't want to
Yeah.
interrupt your train of thought. So
Yeah,
you
no,
did,
no, go ahead. It's
so
fine.
all of
It's
it,
fine.
the animation, the back end,
Yep.
even the community as well, with the community's help, of course.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Everything.
crazy.
It is actually, if you think about it, it took a lot to actually, build, because I started building it, I think, around late March, early May. And then, after minting and so on, I started working on the drop. And then the drop first season, as I said, season 0 wasn't, that satisfying for me. So I actually decided to take a big part out of it and just rebuild it with Nami integrated. And yeah,
And
there,
you're
were a
also
lot of,
working a full-time job too, right?
yeah,
So you
I actually
mentioned.
work as a product manager for a gaming company, for a mobile gaming company. So
That's very impressive, man.
hopefully,
I
you
run an
know,
NFT project and a stake pool, and also do a lot of community management. So I have firsthand experience, like saying that, like, I'm very, very well impressed. With all that you've accomplished while working a full time job and doing all this on the side. I mean, that's a lot of long nights, man.
yeah. There's this saying on the Discord server that AF doesn't never sleeps or something like that. So
Yeah, I see those announcement posts. Even just being a community manager is almost a full time job with the size of a community that you have.
yeah, it is. But I think the secret for me is because right now I do, hang out in the Discord, and I have, chats with people asking questions, or just, hanging out. But I think the secret for a successful community is to actually have sort of incentivize people who are like hardcore fans, and that you see that they get involved and so on, and just, enable them to actually get involved within the community itself. So on the server, there's these roles that we have, like any Discord server has, where there's like MVPs, and there's, cool kids and so on. And people are incentivized by this, and they contribute to that community because they're pixel holders just as much as I am, and they stand to gain profits just as much as I am standing to gain profits from one pixel, right?
Yeah.
Depending on how many you hold, obviously. But so it's sort of becoming a more, community centric as time goes by, as far as I see, and it's a big part of it. Definitely, I think, the project would never have survived without having, cool people around it, and people who, liked it, understood it, and shilled the hell out of it on Twitter.
Yeah. So do you have any
But
plans for, like, hiring any of those community members, or we're going to be going to this in a second. You're adding utility to the project. It's the scope is even getting larger and larger, and these big members of the community. Are you going to essentially bring them on to help with community management or building out the game or anything else?
so my plan is, I hate hiring. Honestly, I don't like working with people that I hire, because I don't think that they actually understand the project itself, and it's just a job for them. What I aim to do is to create partnerships with people that I know from the space and from outside of the space, because working in the gaming industry, I have a lot of friends, and a lot of, I know a lot of people who actually would be happy and would jump at the opportunity to work on something together and develop something and develop a good product. So that's sort of the plan for me right now. I have, conversations with people that I'm interested in working with and with collaborating with, including from within the space and from outside of the space, which is cool. I wouldn't necessarily say that, I would go on and hire somebody. Maybe, stuff that is, not so important to or vital to the project.
Yeah.
Stuff that you can get on Fiverr or whatever. But so, things that are like very tied into the concept and into the identity of the project. I would like people to be invested in it as much as I am.
Yeah.
And there's actually, come to think about it, there's actually people who are more invested in the project than I am, like financially speaking. There's pixel holders which have much more pixels than I do.
Mm-hmm. And you're
And
also
that's why I
looking
only
for that
speak to the
passion
project.
too. You're looking for that passion
Yeah.
about the project that you have that allows you to accomplish this much while working a full-time job.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna, everybody has their own personal brand. Everybody goes about things in their own way. I'm not gonna, impose stuff on them, and I'm not gonna say you gotta do this as I do it. You gotta. This is not, it's not me, and I've never done this thing to people before. I just like people, if they see something that they like with regards to the project, and then just pick it up and do something with it. So
Well, I
that's
respect
my
that.
that's
That's
my
a very
philosophy.
unique way to look at things. And, the times that we're in, with decentralization and with us all being a part of these cryptocurrency networks where we can send value to people and provide value to people, this is something that, I think a lot more people are going to be doing. And you're kind of a pioneer in that space of, having people essentially invest, in a project or, purchase them because they like them or the gamification. And now, they're essentially going to provide value back to the project. It's very unique, and it's unique for you to have that opinion, even as far as not hiring anyone too. That's kind of like the absolute of that. It's very interesting.
I mean, it's ideal. I wish it turns out like so, but hopefully it
Yeah.
will. If I ever need, I find myself in a tight spot where I have to, I'm on a tight schedule. I need somebody to work on this while I work on something else. Naturally, if it's going to come to this, I'm going to look into finding somebody to do the work, and then probably I'll rewrite it somehow or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's a quick fix, then come with me, whatever works. But uh, and I think we were getting into the utility part and so on. So
Yeah.
we're going to
So
talk about
real
more
quick,
about
so what happened, essentially from my perspective, I participated in the drop. I participated a little bit in season two. And then someone messaged me and said, "Hey, have you heard that the Deadpxl white paper is going to release soon?" So there seemed to be a lot of, excitement about a white paper coming. And, I'm still pretty new to NFTs. Cardano is my first time ever using them. So it was very weird for me to hear a white paper for an NFT project. And, I asked somebody about it, and they said, yeah, he's planning to add utility. And that white paper did drop, and that was kind of the big catalyst, at least in my eyes, for that floor to move up and for even more people to gain interest in your projects. So can you tell us, your intentions behind the white paper?
Right. So it was more of a me wanting to reach out to people and me wanting to not spend that much time on Discord answering the same question over and over again. So I thought, okay, let's have like
That's a
a
good idea.
one-stop shop, you know, for all the information related to the past, present, and future of the project. And I sort of called it a white paper because people are used to to naming things like this, like that. It's basically a more of a, I don't know, compendium of information where I look into what, describe the project, to an extent. I talk about it a bit. I talk about the interactive aspect of the tokens, and then I move on to the roadmap of the project, which is split in essentially in three parts. And then I move on to the actually taking, the roadmap and diving deep into each of the roadmaps parts, these three parts that I was telling you about earlier. And then I have like this little section where I have the ecosystem explained, because we also have peyton.org/explorer, which is basically a let's call it a CNFT.tools that I built for my project.
It's very
So
nice, by
you
the
can
way.
go there and yeah, you can go there and check the rarity stats of your token, see, filter out stuff, attributes, number of attributes types, and you can also see the aftermarket listings on CNFT. So it's basically also like a one-stop shop for, aftermarket shenanigans, as I like to call them, and so on. And there's also the Pxl Wallet, which is also part of the ecosystem, where you can actually, it's basically a web app where you can connect any wallet. You put in your wallet address. You don't have to have like pixels in that wallet address specifically. You just need to have them in the same account. So the stake key should hold pixels. The stake key that is associated to that wallet address should hold some pixels, and the address needs to be used. And then you put in your address, and it basically scans your entire account for pixels, and it displays them for you in a very beautiful grid sort of view. with interactivity enabled, because most explorers and most, I don't know, third-party apps don't actually display them all together like in their true interactive form. They just display the thumbnail, which is a static image.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have that as well, for users to actually be able to open it up. And by the way, it can also be saved as an app on your phone, this wallet, so you can have it on your home screen and access your Pixel wallet whenever you want. It updates whenever you open it. It scans the blockchain, sees how many pixels you have in your wallet, and it updates accordingly. So I think it was a very good tool to have in the ecosystem for users, to actually access their tokens fast and easily.
Yeah, it just makes logical sense too. Like we all use pool.pm. The wallets don't really have a good way of displaying them. And as soon as I personally found that Explorer site, being able to essentially filter out, okay, here's how many aliens there are, here's how many vampires there are, that really is what helped me understand attributes and also rarity in the Deadpxl project, more so than really any other project out there.
Well, I'm happy it worked out. I mean, it's naturally everything that I do for this project is a passion project.
Yeah, and it's very apparent. Even just logging into the site, it really is.
I'm great that is getting through. That's very, very good to hear. Honestly, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I really do enjoy the project, and that's why I was really so excited to have you on today. So, you mentioned this wallet and being able to display those NFTs. Is that essentially where the portal for the utility is going to be, next? Like when the future comes, will you essentially see, oh, well, this one, this guy has essentially played the play to earn game and you've earned 10 ADA, from him using your attribute or using this specific NFT. Is that the direction?
So basically, I usually, when I build stuff, for example, let's say I built this wallet, which is not necessarily a wallet per se. It's just like a wallet scanner, but I call it a wallet because it's easier for people to understand. Mm-hmm. So you take the Pixel wallet, right? And then it's been built in such a way that the code is easily, mutatable and extendable to accommodate, new features. So in the future, probably there's also going to be a Pixel wallet, but then there's also going to be a app dedicated for the game, or an app dedicated for forging pixels, so on and so forth, which will be built within the same ecosystem, and they will be interoperable. So you can go from your Pixel wallet to your Pixel, royalty viewer, and so on and so forth, and then you could jump back into the Explorer. And then you could put your Genesis Pixel up for sale, and so on and so forth, if you like. I know I use so on and so forth. Somebody told me this. I really got to stop using that so often.
It works.
Yeah. And so basically what I want to do is create this sort of ecosystem which, brick by brick sort of, fits in nicely within the other things that exist within the Pixel, sphere, and that's my goal. Everything that I build is sort of built on top of the other thing that I previously built, so it sort of makes sense for the end user, even though they have no clue that I'm intending to build it like that. Yeah. Probably, I don't know, maybe if they watch the Dev Updates channel on the Discord, they probably have a clue, but most people just come in, say hi, ask a question, and then leave. So user experience has been like a major aspect that I looked at when building everything related to this project, and I'm happy.
It is what's most important, the user experience, at least with any project,
Yeah, indeed.
It's not focused on a lot. It's like you mentioned for your first drop, most drops are really just an address on a static web page. You send here and you may get it back in an hour. It is fine. It is fine, but there is one that is better, very clearly, right? Without being too humble.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Thank you very much. There's always going to be, I think there's always going to be room for innovation. The seasons themselves weren't perfect. If you were to look at it, there were people who were upset about the NAMI aspect and being NAMI exclusive, although I did try to make it easy for them and to onboard them to NAMI and to explain that, look, you don't need to, it's like it takes 1 minute to set up. It's not, rocket science. It loads much faster than, your Deadpxl, so on. But, some people did not click with this and it's fine. And directly told me, I'm sorry, if I can't use any other wallet, then I'm out of the drop. So you got to accept this as well. There were shortcomings
Of course.
because the solution itself was presented in such a way and built in such a way that not all wallets supported this implementation.
Yeah.
If they would have supported it, I would have gladly implemented each and every wallet, honestly. But Nami was the only one available at the time, and that's it. It's not that I was sponsored in any way, or I paid Alessandro, or he paid me, or anything like that. It's just the way.
I'm sure you would have loved to add a couple more different options. If Yori had a special button, you could just click and I'm going to choose Nami or Yori. But no, Nami was the first of its kind to do that. But in that white paper, what got most people most excited was the play to earn game. Can you go into more details about how this will work, how it interacts with the blockchain, and what it means for old users or new users? The Pixel Forge, the play to earn game, etc.
All right. So naturally, the play to earn game itself, it also comes together, and it's heavily dependent on the Pixel Forge that you just mentioned. So what I'd like to do is to start talking about the Pixel Forge before, and then get into the Pixel Wars, because I think it sort of makes more sense that way.
Yeah, perfect.
So what the Pixel Forge and the Pixel Wars are, it's basically the future of the Deadpxlz project, or most bulk of the future of the Deadpxlz project. And the Forge is basically you could view it as like an online shop where you get to configure a pixel of your own choosing. So you would get to choose from the 69 different attributes that you find on the 10K collection, which we call the Genesis collection, right? The one that's been sold out and part of the season that we were talking about earlier. And you can basically recreate or customize any attribute combination on any pixel type combination, because there's like 5 types of pixels. There's the dead, the reptilian, the vampire, the wolf, the alien, so on. And so you basically get to pick out your base, and then you get to pick out the attributes that you want to add on top of it, any attribute that you want. Each of them, based on their rarity, costs a different amount of ADA. So the least rare attribute, which is the gold chain, would be the cheapest to forge. And the rarest attribute, which is the tight hoodie, would be the most expensive to forge. And you take all of these, and naturally the body costs as well are according to their rarity. So for example, if you were to forge a copy of your alien, right, you would have to buy an alien body, and then whatever attribute your alien has. And it will cost you more to forge that alien, because the alien body is the rarest, and hence will cost more than a classic, dead type pixel. And I know I mentioned a copy, but I want to be clear here. The Forge itself, although it will mint out forged pixels, the collection of forged pixels is uncapped. There can be as many as users want to forge. And it's going to be an open policy. It's going to be a different policy ID, so they will be completely, differentiated from the original collection in terms of, naming convention, metadata, policy ID. Naturally, the Deadpxl's policy ID actually locked back in May. I couldn't mint any more pixels under the same policy ID if I wanted. That's it. That's all there will ever be. And I wanted to do the distribution with the policy locked, by the way, because I wanted them to be like. So
you just essentially minted all 10,000 of them. Did you give yourself like a week or something?
No, it was actually very fast. You know what?
Really?
I can actually, back then I didn't know that much about minting, but right now I could probably do it in like, I don't know, 10 minutes.
I'll just write a script that would mint them all, Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually very easy to do. Not very easy, but if you take your time and you get, dive into the. Exactly. And it's not difficult, and it's not expensive as people would think otherwise, because, unlike other blockchains, to name, Ethereum and other bunch of blockchains, where it's very expensive to mint NFTs, on Cardano, minting the 10,000 pixels cost me, I think, around 160 ADA in transaction fees. And I think somewhere around, there were like 200 UTXOs times 7. There was like 1.4K ADA and locked ADA with the tokens themselves.
Yeah,
So
the min
essentially
UTXO that's required.
the minimum UTXO.
That's really
correct.
where
Right?
most of the expense is in the min UTXO. And what some users do, or some creators, they just put that into the cost. So you can do it even cheaper than that too. But you obviously
Correct.
chose just to pay that for the user.
Hmm. Yeah, basically what I did was have these 10,000 tokens bundle up in like 200 UTXOs, 50 tokens per UTXO, and I basically was able to bootstrap an entire 10K drop with 1.5K ADA. I could have gotten a lower amount than that, but I went for 7K per UTXO. I think the minimum is around 5.12 something, whatever. And then once you start, distributing them or minting them out, not minting them out, but sending them out to users, you can then take money from the money take ADA from the ADA that the actual users pay to get that token. So you can basically sort of circulate that amount and cover all the transaction costs and the minimum UTXO value that you need to send out with each of the tokens in like a bootstrap sort of manner. So it should feed into itself. So yeah, I mean it's very accessible. I know like right now 1.5K ADA is for most people it's a lot of money, and let's be real here. It's like three something K USD. So but compared to other blockchains, and we're talking about 10,000 tokens right now. I mean, we're not talking about I want to mint
to serve that many users. I think it's very reasonable.
Yeah, it's definitely reasonable, and I'm sure there's minting services out there which are happy to cover that, and as you mentioned earlier, take it out of the overall proceeds of the drop and so on. So there are ways to get into the game, even if you're like a non-technical person. You can actually use. There's several minting services out there that can be used. So and we're still early, I guess.
Yeah, we still are very early. So now let's say the Forger comes out, and that's going to be first, right, before the game.
The Forge will come out alongside an alpha version of the game, because I thought about it and I said, if I put out the Forge before any possibility to actually do something with the forged pixels that you get to pay for in that Forge, then it would sort of be useless, because
there's not much incentive.
Forge their pixels and then do nothing with them until the game came out. So what I did was actually decide to put out the Forge alongside the Pixel Wars alpha version, which is going to be a very, sort of an MVP of the actual game, where users can get to actually interact and, sort of do these 1v1 battles against their forged pixels, which will be basically characters that you get to level up, based on the experience that you gain from battling other users, or doing these missions or PvE or whatever. And once you get to level them up, you get to unlock these slots for attributes, and then you go back to the Forge, and then you can add extra attributes for your pixel on top of the existing ones. And these attributes actually add stats to your pixel, which help it, if you could potentially strategize a build for your hero to actually, be powerful in some sort of combo where the meta would enable it to, kick the ass out of an alien or something like that. Naturally, the alien is powerful against other species, and the reptile is powerful against other species and weak against others, and so on and so forth. So it's basically a classic, sort of a turn-based RPG type of deal here.
And can you use the original 10,000 in the game?
No,
you'll have to forge.
The original 10,000 are just at this point they're just royalty receivers. So what I didn't mention about the Forge is one of the very important aspects of this is the fact that holders of the original 10K collection will receive royalties from the forge based on the attributes that are being forged in a specific sort of time frame. So let's say we take like an epoch, let's say like 5 days, right? And these 5 days, users forged a attribute that is called, I don't know, gold chain, and another attribute that is called balaclava, because I hear people like pronouncing that word a lot. And there's an attribute called, I don't know, loose hoodie, okay? So each time these attributes got forged, people paid ADA for them in order to be able to put them on their hero and then provide their hero with stats to be powerful or more proficient in battle versus other users' heroes, right?
Yeah. Do they have unlimited lives, the heroes?
Before
you go into that, sorry.
So this is still like a ongoing discussion within the community.
Okay.
Right now, the plan is to potentially at some point, the pixels that go into battle and lose battles need to die eventually.
They need to be burned. Exactly.
And they will, naturally. There's also going to be a leaderboard, and the play to earn aspect will be, sort of illustrated in the form of a prizes for winning battles or for being proficient at the game. If you are the best, in tournaments, or if you are the best in the leaderboard, you then get to unlock ADA prizes, which are also funded by the Forge itself. So a percentage of the Forge, the proceeds that go into the Forge, that come out of the Forge, go to the Pixel Wars Treasury, as I like to call it, which funds ADA prizes for those who are proficient at the game. And then the rest will go as, will be distributed as royalties to each of the Genesis holders, based on the number of attributes that were forged in that specific time frame. Let's say 5 days. We call it an epoch in Cardano. Let's call it an epoch here as well. So my goal here is to basically create a system which sort of, just like the Ouroboros in Cardano, sort of feeds into itself, and the more user adoption, the more volume that goes into the game, the higher the prizes for playing the wars are, and the higher the royalties for the Genesis holders are.
So do you not take a percentage out of that for yourself? Or are you relying solely on the initial mint?
No, I'm not taking any percentage for myself other than the pixels that I hold.
The 150 pixels you mentioned.
Yeah, 130. I wish I'd had 150. I sort of regret not getting more, but
me as well. And that's what I would go on there and buy one here and there when the price was low, but I wasn't worried about a white paper coming out and 10xing them. I should have been, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the prices evolve. I'm very happy for people who got in early, because they actually, and I do hope they realized some profits at least.
Yeah,
at least to cover their investment, and also maybe, I don't know, get something nice. Actually, somebody texted me the other day saying that they sold a Pixel and got a PlayStation or something, a PS5 or something like that.
It's going to be like the Charles Hoskinson story where he has the $2 million Xbox in his living room.
Yeah. I wish, man. I wish, honestly. And my first reaction wasn't that, it wasn't like, I said, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that the project turned out to be profitable for you and so on. But it was like, is that how much a PS5 costs now? Are you kidding me? That's a lot.
Yeah, because you can't even get them off the shelves anymore. They're like everything else, the supply chain issues.
It's super speculative.
So the game, is it going to be 1v1, 2v2, 3v3? Or are you guys still working on those details?
So my first, as I said earlier, the first version is probably going to be something very minimal, in order for people to get a taste of the competitive aspect, and also you have to actually test it out, to get like a user acceptance testing out there, where you can get feedback, you can sort out bugs. If there's bugs, you can easily do it. And I always like to start out simple, just like I did with the seasons, where I did like a simple drop first, and then I sort of complicated, and then I went out for 3 chains as well, because it's a learning process for me as well. Although I have built many games in my career, it's each new game is sort of, and this type of game requires a lot of iterations, and it requires a lot of feedback going back and forth. between the developers and the users and the community itself. And I'm sure that, it's going to get to a point where we're going to add a lot of more features on top of this, obviously. And that will be with the release of the Pixel Wars Golden, which is the final part of the white paper. And this is basically like the sort of official, or let's call it like, I don't know. Let's say that Pixel Wars Alpha is the incentivized testnet of Cardano, and then the Pixel Wars Golden would be like the mainnet. That's the plan right now. It's a very ambitious roadmap. I am aware people are worried. Is he gonna make it? Is he not gonna make it? And so on. What I can say for sure is the fact that I will put in the same energy and same effort as I did up until now, maybe more, if I manage to get out of the corporate world once and for all and sort of dedicate the entirety of my time to this project. And I,
I can't imagine the entirety of your time, if this was weekends and nights, man, when the days kick in,
No, but I don't like to encourage that. It wasn't very healthy, honestly, to be honest. It's been, it has been a lot of sleepless nights. I have been able to catch up lately, to kind of chill. It is very addictive, by the way, chilling out and sleeping. It gets to you. But yeah, I would recommend a balanced lifestyle and something that is healthy, and also hanging out with your loved ones, with your parents, with your wife, with your kids, with whatever.
It's a bull market, man. We don't have time for that.
Yeah, it's a bull yeah, okay. We're gonna sleep in the bear market.
Yeah, the bear market. 3 years of sleep. We'll be all right. Is there ever going to be a free version of this game for people to say practice or try it out?
Yeah, so what I want to do is, make it accessible to any size of bag. Okay, so naturally, if you want to play the game, you need to participate with a pixel, with an actual forged pixel. The minimum entry is going to be accessible. It's going to be at sort of below the mint levels that we're seeing today in the space, right? The classic, I don't know, 30, 40 ADA, whatever, 50 ADA. Mint, the mints that are going on today. So other than that, I guess the game mechanics themselves are not going to allow for people to actually play, because you don't actually have a playable character to begin with. So you would need to at least forge the minimum,
the cheapest,
the cheapest one in order to take it into battle. Naturally, it's not going to be. You're going to be able to. What I don't want to make the game is play to win. I hate play to win. I like incentivizing users to, giving them an extra edge if they put more money into it, but also allowing a sort of least amount spent, best tactics possible strategy here, where you could potentially, if you play the game a lot, you could get level up your character considerably, which would sort of equate to having an overpowered character that otherwise you would pay for. So this is my goal here. I play a lot of games. I know the struggles. I know how bad, how frustrating it is for people to hit that paywall. There are a lot of games that have actually successfully, sort of overcome that stuff. And they sort of went into the more, I don't know, pay for aesthetics sort of models and so on. Like there's a lot like Fortnite, for example. And
well, there is a key difference here, though. The distastefulness for play to win has always been because the money goes back to those that that created the game. It's a bit different here. The fact that it is being built on top of a blockchain, the funding model, was paid through ADA. I feel like it is a little bit more okay to have, some pay to win features, considering that money goes back to the community, goes to the treasury for, paying more people. Whereas like traditionally, it really sucks when we pay $20 for a game and this asshole spent $200 on an item and, he killed me with it. But at least like if you get killed with a 200 ADA item or an alien, you're like, well, at least he paid back to, paid back to the project.
It went back to the community. You're probably like a pixel holder as well, so you're gonna get paid. You're gonna get some of that ADA back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree
But I
with you.
appreciate that thoughtfulness, though.
It is a difference in I guess paradigm versus the real world AAA gaming cash grabs. But still, I would like to have gamer frustration, up to a minimum. I know
Yeah.
some people are going to be frustrated. It's a fact of life. You can't get, can't get it, across to everyone, and you cannot get, everybody to be happy at the same time. But I do hope the game will be like a pleasant experience for most of its users. And what I'm focusing on, and a heavy focus of mine building the game, is going to be the entertainment value. Okay, technology aside, mechanics aside, and so on and so forth. Damn it, I said it again. I need to create a game which is going to be enjoyable to play, and provide entertainment value, because the secret here is for users to come back, even if they lost the battle, even if they lost the pixel that they own in a battle, like forever, to sort of come back and try and play again, And this time I've learned my lesson. I can go at it from a different angle, which is cool. And I think as time passes, I'm gonna get to learn a lot myself about building a game on the blockchain. So I'm also looking forward to that, from a personal point of view, and also looking forward to how the community will receive everything, and how it will all evolve. I'm very, very curious. I hope it's going to be well. I mean, I truly hope it's going to be a nice experience for everybody. So those are my thoughts on like the future of the project. I guess I spoke for a lot of time. I'm just rambling right now.
No worries. I liked everything you said, and we've been talking for a while. I just have two more questions for you real quick.
All right.
Will you have a SpaceBuds-like smart contract marketplace for Deadpxl? We talked about the Pixel Explorer earlier, and it seems just so perfect that each one of those pixels could have an easy little smart contract button under them, to click. Is that something that you're working on?
Yeah. In short, yes. I have been in touch with Alessandro. I've been asking him a lot of questions about his implementation. And yes, to answer the question, the Pixel Explorer will feature a decentralized marketplace dedicated to Deadpxls exclusively.
Awesome.
Similar to the SpaceBuds one, yeah.
Cool. Yep. So my last question for you, and then we can head out of here for the day, is how do people join the community? And anything you mentioned, I can make sure I include the links down below as well.
Right. So there's several vectors that you can get in. Most of them, all of them are interconnected. So if you go into Twitter and search for Pxlz NFT or Deadpxlz, just add Pxlz NFT on Twitter. You can find all the links that you need there for the Discord server and for the website. And then if you go to the website, you're going to find all the links there. The website is pxlz.org. And I know we talked about the white paper a lot earlier, so you can find the white paper just on the front page of the website. There's like a big button there saying white paper. It is a lengthy read. It's like 24 pages, but if you have some spare time, I would appreciate you read it and went through it before actually engaging in a purchase or FOMOing in and so on. I'd much rather people do their own research on the matter than just listening to some other guy's opinion and so on. And the Discord is pretty much very, very cool. A lot of cool people hang out there. Big Pay is on that Discord, by the way. He sometimes comes in and says
Season
hi.
1. Sometimes come in and shill my Deadpxl wares,
Yeah, you should brag with that alien, by the way. I'm sure a lot of people will be jealous.
Yeah, I just can't tell anybody which one or it'll dox me. Like, I'm not telling you what attribute. Damn it.
So cool. So cool. So yeah, that's it. These are the main channels of getting in touch and getting onboarded to the Deadpxl community. Other than that, I don't know. I'm hanging around a lot on Discord, Twitter, so you can get to talk. You can ask any questions you like over there. I'm sure either somebody from the community or myself is going to answer. So yeah, all arrivals welcome, man.
Well, awesome. I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on today. It was a really good podcast, and I enjoyed learning more.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I've been watching your stuff ever since you were doing Stakepool tutorials back in the beginning of the year, I think, or something like that.
The old
How to set up a
Haskell
Stakepool.
testnet days.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much as well for the immense contribution that it's done to the entire space, man. We're lucky to have you.
Yeah, thank you. But for everyone watching, I appreciate you watching today. If you did enjoy the video thus far, I would really appreciate if you click the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click and subscribe, notification bell, all of the other YouTube shill stuff. If you made it till the end, please comment Pixel down below, because we had Deadpxl on today, everybody. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will be uploading this today, so see you guys.